What's up, peoples? This might be the second to last time that I'm filming on a Saturday, right? I know, crazy, right? I've been filming on Saturdays for the past 6 or 7 weeks, that's so crazy. That's so stupid. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But yeah, I've been filming on Saturdays for the past good 6 or 7 weeks, right? Ha ha ha, 6, 7. But it's the truth. That's what I've been doing. And, yeah. So, I'm going to be moving back on campus. Well, not moving back on campus, but I'm going to be moving back for college starting next Thursday, so the 14th, I believe that is. And yeah, so you may start seeing me post on Thursdays again, like I did during last semester because I was busy on Fridays, right? Um, so with that out the way, let's get into it. Valkyries and Wings. Um, you know, the first half was pretty was the first half for the most part was pretty close. The Valkyries, they like to shoot threes, so they're getting up a lot of threes. They're shooting a lot of threes, hitting them a lot of them. My main thing that I want to talk about for this whole game, it was, the first half was pretty close. They're both two good teams. So I'm expecting that, but the Wings had way too many turnovers towards the end of that second quarter, and which allowed the Valkyries to build up a little bit of lead. And in the second half, they would only expand on that lead, which would then lead to them winning 94-76 because they pretty much dominated the second half. And I think it really will just happen because of the turnovers that the Wings had in that second quarter, in the late second quarter. It was a fast break opportunity where it was just, a path was just too far out. And there was a couple of steals and, just not taking care of the ball, that whole thing. And against a Valkyries team that, they have a lot of great defenders on the team. You never want to be loose with your handles. You never want to be you always want to be paying attention to to them and to the ball. And I just saw a lot of the Wings just not having that same urgency that you would think you should have against a team that is as offensively great. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know, but it's as great on offense as they are on defense. You can't make those little mistakes, and that's what the Wings did. And the Valkyries were simply just able to just take advantage of that and build up that lead, and that's what they really did. And they really took advantage of that, and they were, like I said, able to win. Moving on, we have Yankees and Braves. So one of the things I want to talk about is that the Braves, they had a run in the first inning that got taken off the board because of the fact that the out happened before the run scored. So that really was the main, really one of the main talking points that really shaped the whole thing. Because we didn't get another run from either team until the eighth inning. And that one run really changed the whole course of the game, because like I said, they didn't get another run until the eighth inning, and you'll see why much later on in the game. So the Braves, they're able to score in the top of the eighth inning. Okay, cool. The Yankees statistically have not been great putting up runs. I've seen a lot of games where they'll score one run or 0 runs. So most fans, um, I'm not a Yankees fan, but I do follow the Yankees quite as much as I can. So I knew that this was like a scary situation for them. So it's a scary situation for them because like they're not because either they're up a run and they're trying to get their defense, they're trying to get their defense to hold on to that lead, or they're down and they're trying to get the offense going. And in the ninth inning, they were actually able to get some runs. I think they had like a double to bring in a run, and then they had like a single or something to bring in another run. So, and then so they're actually able to get into extra innings, and the double was almost a home run. Like it was almost a 3-run shot. That was almost game over. Luckily, though, for the Braves, it did end up hitting off the wall. So we go into extra innings. Braves, I thought it was a really interesting decision. The Braves were up to that point. They were 4-5 in extra inning games. The Yankees were like 1-7 or 1-8. So that just goes to show you how bad their offense, either their offense or their defense is in the extra innings. So this just goes to show you how bad their offense and defense is in extra innings. So we go into extra innings. The Braves don't score. So the Yankees, they're able to get some people on base. I think it was like either the first or second. It had to been the first out. So first out, it was either on the first. They either got a sac fly on the first out or going into the second out, and they already had one out. Either way, they won off of a sac fly in the bottom of the 10th inning. So that was interesting. I really was. It was a really exciting game, and like it just goes to show you how one little mistake ends up changing the whole complexion of the game. Because, like I mentioned earlier, the Braves had a run taken off the board. Because why? Because the run wasn't scored before the out was called. So yeah. So that just ended up being like a really important call for the Braves, and it ended up really costing them the game, honestly. Now, Sun versus Mercury. So the Sun, no, the Mercury. It was the Mercury that really had control of the game. For the majority of the first half, into the second half, into the second quarter, they had a double. The second quarter was really a good quarter for the Mercury because they were able to extend their 27-18 lead into double digits, right? So you're thinking, okay, Mercury, they got Kelsey Bloom, they got Alyssa Thomas, they got Khalil Copper, they have all these weapons. The Sun, yes, they're a good defensive team. They rank highly in steals, but they're not really that good on the offensive side. Really, most of their stuff comes from the defensive side, turning into offense, and that's what they did. They turned the defense into offense. They were actually able to get some offensive points. Yeah, they not have offensive points, but they were able to score on offense. They were able to cut that double-digit lead down to single digits and then go into half with only a deficit of 8, 40-32, right? In the third quarter, the Sun, they kept it close. They're able to get the game tied at 49 going into the fourth quarter, right? So they outscored the Mercury in the third quarter, right? Fourth quarter comes around. Back and forth. Both teams back and forth with the lead, right? Mercury just barely hold on to win, though. Or was it Sun? No, it was the Sun. Because Brittany Griner, I wrote that wrong. My fault. Hold on. I wrote this wrong. Because it was supposed to be the Sun that... Was it the Sun? Because I'm pretty sure, the Sun won. The Sun won. Because the Brittany Griner, who's like 6'9", I don't know why Kelsey Plum thought she could get a shot over Brittany Griner. I feel like that was just like... a pretty stupid decision. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna shoot over her. I'm gonna get over. That's like trying to shoot over a Victor Wembanyama. 9 times out of 10, it's not gonna work. So that happens, um, and the Sun ended up coming back to win the game. Really great game, really hard fought game. Both teams really did great. I think the Mercury should have won this, but you gotta keep a pressure on the team. When you have them down by double digits, you gotta keep the pressure on, and that's what happens in a lot of these games. You see these teams come back from double digits, and I'm gonna go into it again, into my next game, which is Mystics versus Dream. Mystics versus Dream, pretty close first quarter. In the second quarter though, the Mystics would extend the lead, go by double digits, and even lead by double digits going into half, 42-30, right? And the third quarter would be pretty much of the same. They would extend a double digit lead. I think they go up 16 going into the fourth, 62-46, and you're thinking, okay, it seems like the Mystics are gonna cruise to victory. But if you look back at some of my old videos with the Dream in them, I mentioned that they always seem to outscore their opponents in the fourth quarter, in the final quarter of the game. No matter whether you're up, you're down, or you're tied with the Dream, you are never safe. I've mentioned this once, and I'll mention it again. The Dream outscored their opponents in the fourth quarter, and what happened to them? The Dream outscored the Mystics in the fourth quarter. Luckily, though, the Mystics hold on to win 79-74. It was a double-digit lead, and guess what? The Dream still found a way to come back. The Dream still found a way to make it a single-digit game to get it close. Even when Ryan Howard, who's like a spark plug, who's like a microwave, who can get hot at a moment's notice. She had 2 great threes to bring the lead down to 7 at one point. She was very inefficient. She wasn't on her game like that. Angel Reese, who's a double machine, has 21 double doubles either 21 double doubles or triple doubles. In the WNBA. In the WNBA, she has like 70 overall double doubles overall in her career in the WNBA. I think she's like one of the fastest to get that many in 3 years. In her first 3 years. So a double machine, sometimes even a triple double machine. And yet she had 5 points. She had like 5. They held her to single digit. You know why? Because the Mystics are quite literally one of the tallest teams in the WNBA. And they had like 9 blocks in the first half. They had way more in the second half. They had a little bit more in the second half. I saw Angel Reese get blocked like 5 different times. Yeah, she had double-digit rebounds, but when she can't put those rebounds back up, that's when the things change. Because they weren't able to get offense from Angel Reese. They were able to get the necessary offense from Ryan Howard. They were able to get offense from Jordan Canada, able to get offense from Alicia Gray. But you know what it is? You know what it also is? It was them getting into foul trouble as well. Ryan Howard, she ended up fouling out in the last quarter off of a blocking foul. Angel Reese was in foul trouble. Jordan Canada was in foul trouble. And you know what happens when you're in foul trouble? You can't play defense like you want to play defense. You gotta be smart. And I'm not saying that this affected them. I mean, obviously it did, but they were still able to get back in the game. But it's them not being able to play the defense like they want to play. I think that's the main part about getting in the foul trouble is you can't play defense like you want to play defense. But I digress. Move on. Sparks versus Lynx. This was a very close game the whole way through. Lynx would go up 48-40. They were pretty much hold the lead heading into the fourth, going up 71-66 heading into the fourth quarter. But in that fourth quarter is when things changed around. In the fourth, the Sparks would end up taking a lead and end up keeping the lead and winning 89-82. And this was a really interesting fact that I found out. Was that the Lynx haven't beaten the Sparks. Like, they've only beaten them like one time, I think. So this is not just the Sparks team, but the Sparks in general have the Minnesota Lynx number, and I thought that was really, really funny, but also really interesting at the same time. But really great game. Sparks hold on to win. Sparks win. Now, the NBA, not the NBA, but the NFL is back. Hall of Fame game. Cardinals versus Packers. If you ain't watched this game, man, let me tell you, you are in for a treat. Hans King and Carson Beck were straight dealing him up. I'm talking about straight dealing, man. Carson Beck, I knew he was a dog from his time in Miami and Georgia, right? Had a really great game. Haynes King, I knew he was a dog in his time at Georgia Tech. They had Georgia Tech and Georgia. They had that crazy overtime game. I know they were both dogs. They going at it. I'm talking. I'm seated. I'm like, they going back and forth. I mean, there was like, I think ever since that second quarter, I think they scored almost every. I think outside of that first quarter, ever since the second quarter, both teams scored on almost every single drive. Almost every single drive either team scored. Haynes King showed he had that dog in him. She showed he had that dog in him. I'm talking final drive on the 3rd and 15. On the 3rd and 15, he said, "You know what? No one's open. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna use my legs." He said, "I'll put the team on my back though." He said, "Let me handle this. I got it." Runs down 17-yard line, right? Fast forward a little bit more, right? They do a little fade ball. 6 seconds left. Ball incomplete, right? 2 seconds left. You know what Haynes King says? "I'll put the team on my back, though. Watch this." Right? He takes the snap. There's 2 seconds left on the clock. If he doesn't score, it's over. Dave Canellis, he said, "I got I'm like Sam Cassell. I got the big balls." He said, "I got trust in my undrafted rookie." Haynes King has been showing up this whole game. A 3rd and 15 earlier in the game. On a 3rd and 15, he layered it over the top of the defender. Caught the ball. On another pass, he absolutely darted to receiver. This whole game, he's been coming up clutch when the team needs him. When he needs to run the ball, he run it. When he needs to throw it, he's throwing it. He's shown he's got the processing skills. And when the team need him most, 2 seconds left, takes the snap, looks around, no one's open. He takes off, he cuts right because there's someone coming around. He cuts right, he gets the angle, gets tackled, but his knee doesn't go on the ground. He stays up, he reaches across the plane. He says, "Cross the plane. You can't stop me. I put the team on my back like I'm Greg Jennings. Touchdown, game winner, 33-30. It was crazy, man. I'm like, oh my Lord. He just did that. I was like, yo. Almost gave myself a headache. Man. But no, it was a crazy game. But both teams really were on one. I mean, they showed up, they showed out. It was a great game. Um, moving on. We got more baseball. We got Royals and Twins. Um, Twins really stayed in this for the most part. You know, they were down 3-1 heading into the seventh inning. They that solo home run that they had in the fifth inning really just like kept them in it for the most part, and they just kind of held out, played enough good defense, and then they were able to tack on 3 runs in the top of the eighth to end up winning the game 4-3. The Royals they just they had some good moments here and there. Just not able to really close it out. There's not much really to say. Um, Fever versus Aces. This was a really great game. The Fever looked like they were about to run away with this game. They were up 20 at one point. They were up 20 at one point against the Aces, and you know the Fever have more so had the Aces numbers right for the most part, and in this game it was really the Aces seemed to have the Fever's number right because in that second quarter when they're up by 20, Jackie Young like I just said, she said I'm gonna put the team on my back. She says I got you. Watch this. Goes on a little 12-0 run by herself, right? Takes the lead, not takes the lead, but gets the lead back into single digits. Right now, it's a manageable game. Right, third quarter rolls around. Right, it's a close third quarter. Aces take a 56-51 lead into the fourth quarter. Goes back and forth with the lead. Another team really gaining a comfortable lead because it's always like a 1 or 2 score game. Right, then Fever. Right, I don't know why. I don't know how you let Chelsea Gray get this shot off. Last few seconds of the game, right in the fourth quarter, Chelsea Gray pump fakes. The Fever defender bites on the pump fake. There's another Fever defender right there, but you know what she does instead of defending? She lets Chelsea Gray shoot the ball, and guess what? Splash. Which rhymes with cash? Splash. Tie game. We going into overtime. In OT. It's pretty much more of the same, right? Trading leads, going back and forth, right? Chelsea Green though, Chelsea Gray. That overtime that shot that led into overtime was on the right wing. She's on the left wing now. Chelsea Gray. Say where you're at right now, right? Where my iPad is, where I'm filming this. You the audience is Aaliyah Boston. I'm Chelsea Gray, right? Now, there's much more space between Leah and Chelsea, right? But Chelsea is a 3-point shooter. She seems to be straight cash from 3-point range. Why is Aaliyah Boston giving her room to shoot the ball? Aaliyah, move, get a hand up. She's over here like, oh, I'm scared. Oh, I'm scared. Oh, I'm scared. Aaliyah, move up. Get a contest on the shots. But you know what she does? She doesn't. She's allowed Chelsea Gray enough room to get and Chelsea Gray don't need a lot of room, but she gave her way too much room to get the shot up. And I know, Aaliyah, you're real tall. You're like 6'4", 6'5", 6'3" at the least. At the least 6'3", at the max 6'5". You're like 6'4", right? But she's giving her too much room, and you know what she does? The ball barely gets out your outstretched arm, and guess what? Splash. And you lose the game because y'all don't want to play defense. Tired. You let him back into the game. And you know the reason why Jackie Young went on a 12-0 run? Because I had too many turnovers. Apple turnovers. Too many. Great game, though. But hand down, man down, Miss Boston. It's a Boston 3 party for your head. Whew. I'm sorry. I'm about to. Man, I'm about to get a headache. Cause like it's just infuriating. Cause like why are you giving them that? I don't know, man. Anyways, we've got soccer. We've got NWSL. We got Toluca versus men. I don't know. No, Denver versus North Carolina was NWSL. We've got Toluca versus Seattle. Toluca really was like really dominant the whole game. They scored in the third, scored again in the 63rd, and then scored again at 90 plus 3 minutes. So the third, 63rd, and 93rd minute. Seattle wasn't really able to get nothing going. Same thing with same thing with Denver. In Denver versus North Carolina, North Carolina really pretty much dominated the whole game. They scored in the 48th minute off of a PK, and then they tacked on another goal in the 81st minute. I'm gonna try not to stress my voice too much now because I've already yelled too much already, and I can already feel my voice trying to go. Sparks versus Sky. Sky did off this strong start as they go on a 13-1 run in the last like 5 or so minutes of the first quarter. They would lead 31-19 after one. Sparks would cut the lead down to single digits at one point, but the Sky would be able to bring it right back up and kept that double-digit lead in the second quarter, going into half 48-38. Right, the third quarter again, the Sparks would cut the lead down, and even went back and forth on the lead in the third quarter. So they were able to cut the lead down, keep the lead cut down, and go back and forth with the team with the Sky. And heading into the fourth, the Sparks had a 1 point lead. Beginning the fourth, it started off close. Both teams are going at it, but the Sky would really pull away and then retake that double-digit lead that they had early on in the game. The Sparks would be able to cut it down within single digits, but by then it was too little, too late, and the Sky win 95-88. Liberty versus Storm. This is a very young Storms team, but they did show a lot of fight in this game. I was really proud of that. They never really gave up, even though they did go down double digits going into the second quarter, 27-16. They never really gave up on that, and they never really let that double digit lead deter them. They were able to fight through the whole game, keep the game pretty close, always within striking range, but never actually able to take that lead. And them not being able to take that lead really cost them, because they had, like I said, they were able to cut it down to 4 going into half, 47-43. The lead was 4 going into the fourth quarter, 69-65. But they were always there, but never they were. It was just never enough to actually take that lead. And the Liberty were always just out of. It just always seemed that they were out of reach. So yeah, great game though. Liberty win 92-86. Moving on, we've got the Padres versus the Diamondbacks. If there was, I don't know if there's such thing as a mercy rule. I've always said this before, but this has definitely been this should have been a mercy rule in the second inning, because it was 6-0 going into the third. Padres were able to score in the 6th and 7th inning, but the Diamondbacks did. Luckily, there was no mercy rule, because the Diamondbacks were able to cut. They were actually able to score 4 runs in the 7th inning to bring the lead to 8-4. But they were never able to actually score. They were never able to score any more runs after that, and they ended up losing 9-4. We've got the Sparks versus Fire. Let me get this. All right, so the Sparks got to a real hot start. They're hitting their shots, boom, boom, boom. Right, it looks like they're gonna it's gonna be a real good first quarter for them. Right, Fire come right back, and they take the lead and keep in the lead as they head into the second quarter, up 29-22. This was a close second quarter. Sparks would keep the game within reach. So going to the fourth, going to the third, going into half, and into the third is 49-43, right? Sparks would have a big third quarter, tie the game up at 72, and that's when it's like, okay, look, we have a chance. They really did have a chance. They're going back and forth with the lead. Sparks manage to squeak out with a 106-101 win. We've got Angels versus Brewers. Brewers were never really able to get anything going for their offense. Angels took a 2-0 lead in the third off of a 2-run homer. And then they did tack on another run in the eighth to win 3-0. Now, for the final game until next week, we have Lynx versus Fever. So the first quarter was 36-33, pretty high scoring first quarter. The second half would take their one possession lead and extend on it, going up 64-53 going into the half. Fever were able to fight back, able to cut the lead down to single digits, but the Lynx were just easily able to build that lead right back up, and heading into the fourth, they were up 87-76. Fever would fight back once again, make it a single digit game late in the fourth, but the Lynx just barely, they hold on, able to keep the Fever just out of reach, to where they're never able to really come back really, and the Lynx win 108-100. So that was that. I'm really excited for the NFL to really come back, as we are starting to wind down on the WNBA season. It is gonna be coming to an end here soon, and then soon after that, we are gonna be in the end of baseball season, and like I said, college football is gonna be coming on soon. We've got NFL coming soon. The NBA is gonna be coming soon. NHL is gonna be coming soon. So, just really excited for all the other sports that are going to be happening. There's going to be a little bit more of a variety now than, it's just going to be WNBA stuff or MLB stuff. Now, you got a little bit of NFL stuff in there as well. So, very excited about it all. Very excited to talk about it with you guys. So, until next week, or until the next time I see y'all, be safe. Know that I love you. And I will see y'all next time. I'm Chase Cummins. This is You Know Ball. Peace.